We all want to think we're rational thinkers and we want to believe we're rational thinkers, right? But when you really think about it, like, how could we be? So, how about we get out of our own head? Which is why I say, biases hijack rational leadership because they get in the way of that rational thinking. And so we have to be very diligent about.
So tell me what you see as a professional in this area. What do you see around this confirmation bias and people just seeing what they want to see?
Yeah, well, it's huge. And, let's unpack that for a minute. Why does that happen? It happens because we're confirming what our own self filter is packed away inside of us, right? So it's self tunnel vision, right? And we're talking to ourselves. We all want to think we're rational thinkers and we want to believe we're rational thinkers, right? But when you really think about it, like, how could we be? Because our thinking and our thoughts are all based on what's in our personal repository, right? Our own beliefs, our own instincts, our own aversions, and our self that filters all of it, every experience we've ever had. And we can say, oh, I had that exact experience back, blah, 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 when, but we're human. We don't exactly remember those experiences probably the way they happened. We can misremember, we can misinterpret. So these are all the things that we're now talking to ourselves about, right? So how about we get out of our own head and talk to some other people, right? Who have their own personal repository set, but when you can reach out and bring in diverse perspectives, recognizing that we all have our own self filter, you're still in a way better place than when you're talking to yourself. And because rationalizing is exactly where biases can have a ball, because you're just talking to yourself, you're just rationalizing with what you already know. So, yeah. So, when we get into like strategies, how do you manage these things? One of the best strategies is, involve other people. That's why decisions shouldn't be made in silos. In business, we should be looking cross-functionally. We should have other people be weighing in, because maybe there's a chance that someone can change our perspective and that we might be able to see something a little bit differently, whether it's hiring a leader, whether it's a strategic decision about what a company is going to do, right? Which is why I say, biases hijack rational leadership because they get in the way of that rational thinking. And so we have to be very diligent about having things in place that protect us, right? Protect us from ourselves, protect organizations from ourselves, reach out to other people, asking good questions to ourselves and having others ask them too. Putting, 5 steps I talk about: conscious pause, stop and think before you make a decision or you act or you emote. The second thing is, get perspectives. Third, practice intervention strategies, even if you're constantly questioning yourself or you're putting practices in place where you are literally intentionally practicing. I am not going to speak until I take a deep breath, count to 5, whatever. That's a very simple example. And then, when that all fails, when someone can't do those things or doesn't pay attention to those things, put processes in place, especially at an organizational level. Because this is what we do in business, right? When we want to somehow channel or control behaviors or decisions, we put processes in place so that there's a lane, but it kind of protects you from going beyond to the danger zones. These are things we can do with biases as well. And then number 5 is progress. Check your progress. So I encourage people to pay attention to patterns of their decisions. Are you leaning in one direction all the time? And is it coming back to bite you? Are people saying to you or others, you know, I don't know, like you really keep saying that's a great idea and your optimism's really strong there, but we have evidence that shows maybe it's not such a great idea, right? We should listen. If we hear something enough times, especially from different sources, we should listen because generally that's probably pointing to some sort of bias that we have that may not be serving us well, nor our teams or our organizations.